Hello and welcome back to your South King County Real Estate Update. My name is Sarah Eggleston with Stone Egg Realty, and I'm back to deliver your local real estate news for the week. I'll go ahead and jump right on into these slides. So today is November 18th, 2022. Let's find out what happened this week. So this coming Sunday is a bye week for the Seahawks. Last week they did miss taking away that W by just a few points. It was a fun game to watch. What a comeback the Seattle had. It was quite a comeback, but it wasn't quite enough. There won't be a game this coming Sunday, so the next game is going to be Sunday, November 27th at 1:05 against the Raiders. And what happened this week? So I meet with a group of realtors every week, or almost every week, and we have been chatting about what's going on in the market, what we're seeing our buyers and sellers challenges are, and who's having successes, celebrate those wins together. It makes it a lot more fun to I don't know, just share your wins and losses with other people who know what's going on. And it is really interesting to hear everybody reflect on what's happening in the market right now and see how the people that are transacting have changed over the last couple of years. With the higher interest rates going up, it knocked a lot of people out of the market. But the stock market has also gone down quite a bit. So investors that would otherwise possibly be open to buying an investment property with cash, they don't want to pull their money out of the stock market right now, because you don't want to sell when stock market's low. You want to buy low and sell high. And so there's a lot fewer investors in the market, and a lot of the people that I hear are having success purchasing homes right now are first-time home buyers, or people that are just, they didn't have a lot of luck over the last couple of years getting into a home because they kept getting bid out by all these people with a lot more money. So now it is the underdog's day, and I always love this. I love an underdog story. But those people who are first-time home buyers, maybe 3.5% down, with a finance contingency, getting an inspection contingency, these are real winning stories for these buyers, and that is just really cool to see. This market is one that if you are a first-time home buyer or thinking about making that move up, I think we should sit down and talk, because there's a lot of really great things happening right now for those people that may not be able to compete in a multiple offer situation that may come in future markets. So let's sit down and have that conversation. Go ahead and jump back on into these slides. So U.S. home sales fell in October for the 9th straight month. From September to October, it fell 5.9% for existing home sales. So the amount of homes that are selling is less than last month, and 28% lower from October of last year. So this is a pretty big number, but if we think back to what was happening in October of last year, we're still in that frenzied market, and we have left that frenzied market. So the fact that there are fewer sales happening right now than one of the periods of time with the most sales in history, okay, that's not really that surprising. And the national average for median home prices rose 6.6% from October of last year to $379,000. So it has come down since the spring for sure, but we're still ahead of 6.6% ahead of where we were last year. So that's pretty darn good. The median home price is down about 8% since that peak in June, but remains 40% higher than October 2019. And Lawrence Yoon from the National Association of Realtors, he said, that's really hurting affordability. Most household incomes have not risen by 40%. So that's true. Most household incomes from 2019 to now have not risen 40% in income. So affordability is definitely lower than it was prior to the pandemic in that sense. And inventory of homes has come down 3 months in a row. It's something we would kind of expect to see happen this time of year, coming down 0.8% from September to October. not a big deal. But overall, we are still very low on inventory, and I should expect this to continue throughout the rest of the year, probably turning around in January or February. This article came out about a week ago. The worst time to buy a home in a generation, US survey shows. So this is a sensationalized news article headline. This is based on a consumer survey. So this is going around and asking people whether they think it's a good time to buy a house or a car or that sort of thing. So 4 out of 5 consumers say that now is not a good time to buy. And in Seattle, homes have been staying on the market a little bit longer. 38% fewer pending single sales homes in October than last year, and 34% fewer than 2019. So October of last year and 2019 were pretty similar on the number of sales, but locally we had come down quite a bit from that this year. And as I said, that was a sensationalized news headline. And is it really that bad of a time to buy a house? Well, let's take a look at the alternative, because the alternative to buying is renting. So this is a graph of rent, the median asking rent since 1988 on a national scale. So this locally would be even more inflated, a higher priced area. But this trend, I don't think is going to change. It's skyrocketed. It might not continue up at quite this rate, but I don't expect it rents on average to go down anytime soon, if ever. And that is basically the alternative to buying a house. So if you can find a house that meets your financial expectations for a monthly payment, and it is a good time for you to buy, then do that. And if you wait for prices to fall, but they never do, you may discover the hard way that the house that you found a year ago that you really loved, that you could afford, but you passed up on, is more expensive next year. So this came from First American. And this is a Warren Buffett quote that I really like. I've said this several times recently. Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy only when others are fearful. So there, with those sensationalized headlines, those sorts of things are flying around right now. That information, those clickbait headlines that are really meant to get more views, that's what's going around right now. So that is, that is scary. Those headlines are scary, even if they're not completely based in reality or a full reality. This quote is just, it rings true so much in this situation. Interest rates are predicted to go down next year at some point by most people. When that happens, what do you think is going to happen to the home prices? Yeah, they're going to go back up again. So if you buy now, even with a higher interest rate, you'll be able to refinance when rates come back down, and you paid maybe $100K less for the house than you would have if you waited for the rates to come down, and your payment could be more or the same. It could be a wash. So we'll see what happens and when with those interest rates, but there's a lot of fear in the industry right now. So that is the time to make moves and be greedy, as Warren Buffett says. So if we look at showings for North America, we are ticking down seasonally, as we would expect to see, but with a much depressed rate compared to the last 2 years. And if we bring it to our market stat minute, we had 468 new listings in King County, 555 pending, and 440 sold. So we did kind of maintain where we were last time. We did tick down in new listings and solds just barely, but it does look like we're heading down at a pretty low rate. And for our local area breakouts, Renton had more new listings than price reduced and pendings. Kent had way fewer new listings than price reduced, and even greater difference if you compare that to pended listings. Federal Way and Auburn were a lot closer on that new listings to pending ratio. Auburn had more price reductions than Federal Way on a percentage basis. You can see that the area that you're looking at, you need to dive in a little bit closer as to what's happening in that specific area, because each little area is its own micro market. And if you are not aware of what's going on in that micro market, you may either lose out on a house or overpay, or, you know, make some mistake that you could have avoided if you were a little bit more zoned into that specific area. These are the Allen Pope charts. These come out monthly. This is for Auburn, Kent, Renton, and South Seattle. The blue line is inventory and the red is net pending sales. So back in 2018 and 2019, the blue line, the inventory line, was over the net pending sales. So we had more inventory than sales. That all changed in 2020, and the red line, we have had more pending sales than inventory ever since. And that changed heading into June. That is when that switch was made. And we are just seeing less pending sales now than inventory on the market. But if we take the inventory line specifically from now, October of 2022, and look at October of 2018, there's a huge gap. October of 2019, we're still doing better on inventory now than we were prior to the pandemic. And last week, our weekly average mortgage rate was 7.08%, but our daily rate was 6.62%. And this week, our weekly average is 6.61%. So this is bringing it back to where we saw things at on Friday. The big news was last week as far as interest rates. The inflation numbers are looking a little bit better. After we got October's numbers, inflation was 7.7, which is a little bit less than they had predicted it would be. So the markets reacted favorably. Stock markets went up, interest rates went down, and yeah, it was just really good news. And for our daily interest rate, we have a rate of 6.63. So staying pretty steady from where we saw last week. And next week, there will be no show. I'm taking the day off for Thanksgiving. And I just wanted to wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving. I hope you have a fantastic day, whether it be with friends or family. I hope you get to spend the day with somebody that you care about and enjoy some amazing food. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. My phone number and email address are on the screen there. If you have a question about your local area or housing market in general, just reach out. I'd love to have a conversation with you. Thanks so much again for joining. My name is Sarah Eggleston with Stone Egg Realty at John L. Scott. I will be back here in 2 weeks with your local real estate news on Friday. And have a great Thanksgiving. See you soon.